Alright, so this first model here is one of a brick, and I've got it on my screen. And so if I go around here, you'll see that there's a little funny stuff going on in this corner. On the sides, it's not too bad. Okay, and on this side here on the top, it almost seems like there's some areas that are nice and crisp, right, in terms of the texture, and others that are a little bit blurry type of thing. But the model overall has been fairly well constructed, and there's some things here that just need a little bit of attention and a little bit of work. So first off, in terms of the difficulty for this particular project, it's really not that difficult. This is a very simple project, small model, everything's in your control. You can get close, you can change the lighting, you can do a bunch of different things. So this is, from that regard, is not too bad. In terms of the photographs, the quantity of photographs is actually okay. So there's enough that it seems like, it's closed the model and it's made a decent model. But there might have been a little bit more in this corner and maybe a few more up top here that could have helped the model themselves, or the model itself. Now, in going through the photos, a couple of things that I've noticed here, and if I just sort of go around, so there is this little white section, there's this little chip over here, but if you look at some of the images here, so here we have something related to depth of field. So if you get close here, you'll see it's nice and crisp, and as you get farther away, it's a little bit blurry. So if I bring up some of the camera information that's here, and I scroll down, a couple of things I'm going to note, and I may highlight on not all the photos or all the models, but on many of them. Okay, so the F number here is 22, which is good. The ISO is 400. So if you wanted to get a little bit more crisp, 400, you can bring that down to 100 and you'll have a slightly longer exposure time. So yeah, the F number at 22 is not bad. If they had a higher setting, I would have gone even higher if that was possible on their camera. Sometimes it's just not possible. So yeah, this is the model here. They've actually flipped it over, okay, and they've gotten both sides, it seems. So there's one there and one there. And so let me just flip back here to the model, and it seems like they didn't do the bottom. So you see there's a hole at the bottom, so they didn't bother with the set that was underneath, and that's probably because you need to do masking and that sort of thing. But in terms of the organization of the photos, you can see that there's one circular set that goes around that's almost equally spaced. And so that part I liked how organized that was. But there's a lot of other photos that are taken that are kind of redundant. They moved a little bit further back, and they really are not all that helpful. I think what would have been really useful here would have been to get down low here. So this group of photos, or these camera positions that are down lower, to complete a second circle that was closer and catching all the sides. I think that would have helped. All right, and if we look at the texture of the mesh, okay, or the not the texture but the actual mesh quality, it's not too bad. I feel like there's some things that it's lacking. It could be a little more crisp. Okay, there's some numbers that should pop out here, but so the mesh probably needs a bit of work. There's some little bit of ugliness that's going on that side, and there were some things there that were sticking out. So this is not all just a poor mesh. Some of it has to do with the geometry of the actual brick and the dirt and such that was on it. But not too bad. But if we look and go back to the mesh with textures, it doesn't look too bad, and I would give this an overall score of about maybe like a 6, or maybe a 6, or maybe a 7, but somewhere in that range, because I think there's just some very simple things that could have been done to improve this particular model.